Good afternoon, church. My name is Evangelist Felicita Rivera, and I bring you greetings from my home church, Harvest Church, located in Paterson, New Jersey. And it gives me great honor to be standing behind the sacred desk of Bishop Dr. Edward Ramirez to speak to you today about a story that I believe we can all relate to, a story that we should all keep in mind. And it's the story that Jesus faced even with his closest disciples, the story of Peter's denial. This story reminds us that even when we stumble, our faith can be restored through repentance and reliance on God's grace. Jesus predicts and he tells Peter, who boldly proclaims his unwavering loyalty, even to the point of dying with Jesus. Jesus tells him in Mark chapter 14, verse 30, he says to Peter, Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth, Peter. This very night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny 3 times that you even knew me." In a moment of weakness, when confronted in the courtyard, Peter denies knowing Jesus 3 times, even to the point of using foul language. And when he sees Jesus and he locks eyes, he remembers that Jesus had already predicted that he was going to do this. And he feels like a total failure and then goes back to where, his old life, where Jesus found him, and, goes back to fishing. We all find ourselves in a place where we can be the one to fail, or having someone in our lives fail us. And how are we going to deal or handle that failure? How are we going to treat the person who betrays us, who in our eyes has failed us? I remember that there was a time that someone so near and dear to my life hurt me and betrayed me in a way that I never thought they would betray me. And that betrayal hurt profusely. And this was earlier on in my walk with Christ. And I remember a pastor saying to me, "Felicita, even Jesus was betrayed. He was betrayed by those closest to him." We see it that with Judas. Judas sold him out. So we are going to encounter times where someone does hurt us, someone that we care about so deeply and care about so much for. But what are we going to do, and how are we going to act? How are we going to address that situation? Are we going to remember that the Bible tells us to turn the other cheek, to continue to show love to that person and to give grace to that person, because that's the same grace that we want God to give us? It's important that we realize that even though we stumble, there is, through repentance, there is grace that God restores. Because even going back to Peter in this story, Peter is who God builds the church on. He tells him, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes." "Then feed my sheep." So we have to remember that if we love God and those hurt us, anyone around us can be used to hurt us, we have to remember that if we love Christ, we need to feed his sheep. We need to be the love of God to those in the world, to those who hurt us. Because there is grace, there is repentance, there is restoration through this story. You know, at the end of the story, Peter even gives his life. He dies for the cause because he loved Jesus so much. So we have to remember that we can be in the place where we could be used to hurt someone just to save ourselves or out of fear, but we have to remember that we have to remain true to what God calls us to, and that we show the love and that we feed his sheep. Thank you, church. Have a great day.